Hello everybody, let's do a general reading. Decided to pre-shuffle this time, but I'll do it once more just so it's all present with what we're working with. Oh, wow. Right away that came out. Oh, we got another one. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's get this a little more in camera. Yeah, sorry. You might have noticed, I have a pretty small space to work with. I'll work on that later. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And, interesting. Well, that makes sense. Right now, everybody's pretty bogged down. I'm recording this during 3 different retrogrades. It's been a weird time. And that also makes sense. I feel like a lot of people are reassessing right now, and that's pretty evident. We're all kind of marred down in the quagmire and realizing what we had that was a little faker than we thought. If anything, we might feel a little bit stupid right now, realizing that if anything, we kind of had a lot and might have tossed it out. But, I think a lot of it is just, it's more self-created than we think. At least the problem we're facing right now might feel a little bit crazier than it is simply because of our emotions in the situation. We're pretty, especially with this, I consider that a double, confirmation. Everybody's freaking out right now, and that's making things worse than it is. But it's also kind of the silver lining is that you're more just freaking out that you realized it wasn't as great as you thought, and now it's yeah. And I think that's pretty clear because I got Judgment in reverse, so I think the assessment of where you should be. It's like you're on the right path. You don't like what that looks like. It's very scary, and it's hard for you to embrace it right now. That's the advice, step up and embrace it. Now I understand how judgy that feels because nobody wants to just be told like, oh, just like try harder. No, that's not fair. No, it's more like, and I mean, yeah, look at that. This is the overall energy, and the advice is pretty much the inverse of that. Well, not completely because this isn't the Hierophant, but if anything, I'd consider it to be a better reverse because it's energetically very different in the right ways. So, short answer. High Priestess means there's a lot of internal strife and indecision right now. You're not really sure where to go with any of this. You really don't trust your own discernment or the order of yourself. If anything, you're probably just, like I said, you're freaking out. You're scattered right now. And the idea of this is that you can step up more than you think. Obviously, nobody wants to be told to step up, but it's more like you can step up more than you think. You have a lot more power than you recognize, and that's okay. I think the main part of it that makes it hard is that you're just seeing, well, with all of this I've said so far, the main point of it is that you had to give something up. You realize that it wasn't all one thing, and that's life. It's like this could be, I guess, the best example. Say it's a breakup. Nothing like that happens by accident. There is no such thing as a breakup that shouldn't have had to happen. But that does not mean that you were not together and that it wasn't real at some point either. That's what's so hard is we want to just demonize everything like it was bad and oh, it's just, I woke up and I was crazy before. It's like, no, you weren't. You love that person and you drifted apart and it's hard. It could be the same thing with work, with anything really. I think that's mainly the point here is that like you're free from something, but it's been very debilitating to do this. And I would be kind with yourself right now because of that, because And I think that's the main thing is you just want to have your internal sovereignty back. You want to feel like you're where you need to be and that you're doing the right thing. But, long term, I don't consider this to be like a horrible thing. I think it's more just like you're not quite there yet. And I'll admit, if I was watching this, I wouldn't want to be left at that note. So let's dig in a little deeper on this. I'll do a 3 card and we'll go from there. And I'll clarify both of the futures just to kind of see where we're coming from here. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely about somebody else. Well, no, it could be about a job. It's Pentacles. Oh, interesting. So, a couple cards popping out. I think it is interesting because I got, sometimes you flip through the deck and you see what you're meant to see. And I just saw, talking about it, I got the Hierophant in reverse and I got the High Priestess upright. So, I mean, in that interpretation, though, I think you're a little better off than you may think here, because what I get out of that, you made the right call. You don't believe in yourself. I've been getting that a lot. And I mean, to be honest, it's hard not to do a reading that's like a little bit about yourself, but yeah, at least in the own mirror sake, I get where that's coming from. Now, when we look at this, so yeah, that makes sense. You're dealing with a financial situation and, from what I can tell, you're putting out the work really well. It's just not going anywhere right now. And that's a very anxious place to be. I think that's kind of the whole point. The retrogrades, it's about introspection, it's about revision, it's about going back and kind of figuring out how we should be doing things differently. And I think the whole point is that, like, you hit a snag. You're not really sure what to do. You're freaking out about it. Let's ask for some clarity on advice, because I think that'll help. I'm going to just leave this here. So it's, I go under the rule. If you've taken the cards out there where they're supposed to be, you don't need to put them back in, because we're going to be talking about different things if you ask a different question, And if you're asking the same question again, well, then don't shuffle your cards too much, because they're already where they're supposed to be, Let's see. About... Yeah, okay, I'm getting a little bit of a clearer picture. And I like to keep it with 3. Oh, I was going to say I want to do 3, but... Yeah, no, it's better that this is 4, I think. So, yeah, what I'm getting at. And then the new bottom of the deck, which I'm still going to keep the old one for being relevant, but the new one is Lust in reverse. So I think, yeah, you stepped out of something that was not good for you. It's just really hard to face that's what it is, because it did feel so good. And I was saying before, like, I see where things are relevant, within my own life. And looking at this, the first pair I got, Ace of Pentacles reverse, Prince of Cups. I think the point is you freed yourself from something that was stable but not fulfilling. And that's why this is so hard, especially in this day and age and what we all have to deal with right now. I mean, everyone's always had to hustle. Let's just be honest there, but it's a hard time to be hustling. And there's so many people out there who, I mean, I guess you could say that's the nihilism of it. It's like, oh, things are so hard, I might as well just do what I want. But also, like, things are so hard, I can't do what I want, And I think you decided to do what you wanted. You thought about it from a place of stability for a long time. That's what you were longing for. And you finally made the pull. And now you're just like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Because you have to own it. And now you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? That was just like an idea in my head, and now I'm here. But I think it's okay, because you got the Hierophant and you got the Ten of Swords. Now, personally, I'm a Taurus, and there's always a little bit of me in the reading. Now, it might not be relevant for you, but within my energy, this always means you're being yourself. You're doing the right thing. So if you're a Taurus, you got anything in there, I think that's a double confirmation. And you got the Ten of Swords, which the whole point of it is the blessing in disguise. It's kind of like the Death card, but I mean, I would say death doesn't actually have to be a very dramatic card. This implies something dramatic. It's grief. It's like I don't know, like you lose your job, but then that day you get another job that's way better kind of thing. It's something like that. Or like, yeah, your partner breaks up with you, but they were actually kind of toxic. That sort of stuff. It's one of those kind of angles where I think ultimately this is going to step you into a better place emotionally. But right now, yeah, you might not feel that way. You might just be freaking out. So, clearly, one last time, let's get a solid course of action. Just real advice. I keep getting thematic stuff that makes sense. Sorry, I gave you two non-real answers. What's the advice for these guys watching? You're okay. I don't know what else to say other than I think you're okay. It's it's not an easy time right now, but whatever you did, the universe is happy about it. You had to be brave. I've said this many a times. I feel like it's all the same tribe somewhere. There's somebody who every single one of my videos is exactly what they need to hear, or none of them, whatever. But I feel that continuation of the timeline. You did what you were supposed to do. It was right. You had to be very brave to get to this point, and I would give yourself that. But yeah, it's all right that you're kind of freaking out too because you had to. If anything, you were cooler than you were. Like that's a weird thing to say. I've been there plenty of times where you're like, I'm gonna do this thing. It sounds so spiritually cool, and I'm just gonna show everybody that that it's like, oh wait a minute, that's actually really hard. I think you did something really cool like that, and you might be kind of second guessing yourself, but I think it's gonna be very, very rewarding. Whatever it is, you did the right thing, even if you regret it right now. And I think that's kind of where it's coming from. You have some regrets, and like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes the vegetables of our lives are not easy to swallow, even when we ordered them. And you shouldn't feel bad. You really shouldn't. Just looking at the bottom. Yeah, just because like I want to keep ask questions in my head and I keep going. And I ask different things with both of these decks, by the way. This is about the past. The colored deck is about the future. I relate these to different parts of my bloodline. This is for my mother's half of the family, which is of the more Germanic Slavic sort of stuff, which is why it's based off of a Golden Dawn book. Most of my family on that side of the family is past, so pretty black and white definitive connection to answers. Very matter-of-fact stuff. My father's heritage is unknown, but most likely from a Mesopotamian kind of area. So it's also Golden Dawn because the other half of his family has gotten, similar kind of things. But the part we don't know, somewhere from there. And makes sense. These cards are going to be a little more ambiguous. As you can tell, they're not even in English. Not entirely. But derail aside, I almost had a video for that to explain it. I might as well just throw it in if anybody cares. I'll explain it later maybe if anybody cares to watch this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty certain now this is a legal matter with money, or just more so a finance matter than like I think this is the equivalent of you left a really bad job. One of you watching this had some sort of fancy corporate job, and it sounded great. And trust me, I know exactly what that's like. And then you realize that it was basically a trap, and you got out of there. You had to be very, very passionate in what you wanted to get here. You had to really, really stand up for yourself and say, I'm just going to do it. And I'm fearless. But then it's like, oh, that sucks. But it's where you're supposed to be. And it's going to get better. The point is your feelings are tied to things that fed you in different ways right now. And it's the readjustment to know that these things are not always going to feed you the same way. It's like, I made the example of like a bad relationship. We always, even if it was meant to happen, we always grieve, we always wish we had back even the things that we knew were toxic. I think it's one of those kind of things. You're only here because this is for your highest good. And if you made this decision, you got to trust yourself. If you didn't, you got to trust the universe. And look, I am right there with you. If any of that kind of triggers you and makes you a little upset, I get it because, I'm probably asking a lot of you, and you got my sympathy no matter what you're going through because trust me, I'm in kind of a similar spot. So I get it. But realistically, you're taken care of. You can't not be to be in this position and to have this kind of outcome. That's what Spirit's trying to say is that this is how it was supposed to be. You're taken care of. You're going where you need to. It's a little rough right now. It'll be okay. Hang in there. I promise, I promise, wherever you're going, it's good. You're doing the right thing. These are the cards about the future. You're doing the right thing. It's okay. You'll get there.